Everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show in the Storehouse Media Group podcast. I'm your presenter, Neil Haley, and our guest today is Cheryl Lovell, and she is the founder and executive of CLC Group. I love highlighting entrepreneurs. How are you, Cheryl? Thanks for stopping by.
I am great, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, talk about your story and how you became an entrepreneur. How did that all start for you?
Sure. So back in the day, joined the Navy right out of high school, went to the Gulf War, thought, I'm going to follow that whole nursing career path. And then when I got out of the military, there weren't any real nursing jobs available early in the 90s. And it was really a struggle to get into nursing school, to transfer nursing schools, things like that. They thought there was going to be too many nurses back in the day. And so crazy times. So the military had a college that's associated with it called Webster University. And they said, you know what? We have this brand new healthcare administration thing, and we're going to bring the next leaders up in healthcare. So why don't you do that? And so I ended up getting my degree in business and healthcare administration, and I got my master's in business and kind of never looked back. And I've loved the business of healthcare ever since, and worked for people and thought I can do such a better job on my own, and kind of ventured out on my own, had my own home health, hospice, private duty companies, palliative care companies. And then after I sold those, I went into consulting and helped other people like realize their business dreams, from operations, sales, marketing, the whole 9 yards. I just love healthcare and know that if you do it right, you can make a huge difference. And
So, yeah. So, the businesses you work with are mostly in the healthcare industry?
yeah, all of them are in the, I've only done one from a consulting perspective, but it's kind of healthcare adjacent, was FDA regulatory compliance. So it kind of tied a little bit, but I had a lot of fun doing that. And I learned a lot about what compliance in other areas looks like. And it's all very similar. But yeah, I've really mostly worked in healthcare consulting, and then my own venture. Mm-hmm.
Your own venture, is that just work with healthcare companies, or you work
Yeah,
with all?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, my own venture of CLC Group is really consulting with healthcare organizations and helping them either solve problems, grow, develop, make changes, operational, that kind of thing.
What are you seeing in those challenges? Because again, I don't know if you did some searching. I've had clients in the healthcare industry. I work with a lot of doctors as well, so I really understand the healthcare landscape and how crazy it is, for especially for businesses. So, what
Yeah.
are you seeing when you consult? What is your goal? Looking at the health insurance side, or the whole everything?
It's really the whole operational picture. Like, what is the owner or the operator's goal? What is the best way to get to them? The goal, is it operational reorganization? Is it development? Is it marketing? Is it presence? Is it
Oh.
acquisition? Is it buy, do a new startup themselves? Like, it's all of the in what the current client is looking for. And then I like look at it and say, here's where the gap is, or here's where your biggest opportunity is. It could just be a leaky bucket and you need to
Right.
plug the hole, or it could be just a whole new opportunity.
So thinking about the healthcare industry, because I want to jump. So what types of healthcare do you work with? Like what types of
I,
organizations? Yeah. Mhm.
like post-acute care, home health, hospice, private duty home care, palliative care, assisted living, independent living, skilled nursing
Oh,
facilities,
wow.
anything in
Okay.
that post-acute
But
space.
they're really understand, but they don't understand the layout of how to do it, especially home health. Especially if you're one of those home health providers. I worked with a company, a former client of mine was Feldcare. I don't know if you've ever heard of Feldcare. And
Yep.
they basically did the home health stuff. So they
Right.
basically they subcontracted with other organizations, the bigger ones, to do the home health
Mhm.
program. So I'm familiar with that, but I'm familiar with all these things. What do you think are the biggest challenges when you find somebody to consult with them? What are they saying? You said marketing, but it's a different type of marketing, right?
It is, 'cause it's more B2B than B2C
Right.
marketing. So, like, it's really tackling how, because it's a B2B trusted relationship, but then you also have to make the relationship with the client, right? So that's the toughest translation sort of in the marketing and sales from that perspective. And then how do you get to the B2B? Because, it's more it's more live in-person marketing. Everyone's trying to create the sales engine, what's going to do it, what's going to touch that, and everybody's trying to figure out if there's like a, the silver bullet that's going to do it, and everybody's trying to work that out. But it's really those interpersonal relationships, and how do you keep that going with technology advancing, AI advancing? Is there any way that stuff comes together? So it's just trying to figure out what the best thing for that particular program is.
So are these pretty big organizations you work with?
Some of them are very big, some of them are very small. I've done from startups to, $150 million organizations annually.
And what do you see that's the similarity between those two?
I think the similarity is really just the risk adverseness of anyone in this industry, because right now we're dealing with all this fraud, waste, and abuse, and the moratorium that CMS has put in. So everyone who is a really good operator is pretty risk averse, right? They're
Right.
not willing to, take chances on things that are not going to guarantee them an outcome. And this is a really difficult business. You have to be a little bit of a risk taker, not throwing away the rules, but making sure that you're really challenging yourself to either level up or, moving forward in some way.
I see. So interesting. So it's the risk. So who do you see the people that start these companies?
Um, I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are coming into healthcare, and it's a little bit changed now with this moratorium that Medicare's put in. But the entrepreneurs are coming from other business lines where they think healthcare is sort of recession proof, economy
Right.
proof, that kind of thing. So you see that dynamic shifting, and you have a lot of people who don't necessarily understand the business or the regulatory complexities of the business trying to get in and
And
want
now
to.
it's more regulated, but it could change in 2 years again.
Right.
We
It's
could
always
see
going to change.
we could
It
see
can
we
always
could
change.
see we could
Yeah.
see this explosion in
Yeah.
other things that disappeared for 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
That's why you always have to be willing to shift
Yeah.
your focus and your changes. And that's what you do as a consultant. Come in here and say, hey, things have changed. Sure, the compliance things, especially if
Mhm.
they're a newer company. So you see people not in the healthcare industry that started healthcare business.
Yeah, because they think it's like all that proof, like it's recession proof, it's economy proof. It's
If
not
you have
as
the money to
complicated as
invest
a
in it,
restaurant
or
business.
you can go out get money, you see that. But then you look at things. I think a home health is an unbelievable opportunity investment because
It
of
is,
the.
but
Mhm. Go ahead.
it is with the regulatory component. I think people are like, oh yeah, we're going to do with this and we're going to get into it. But it is so regulatorily complex. Home health is of all the post-acute businesses, I believe is probably the most regulatory, not only regulatory, but payment complex, because it's not a
Mm.
standard payment, right?
Hey,
Like
so if
most
you're going to
other,
try to pay your staff, you're waiting for so much time to get paid.
well, and it's not even that, it's how you get paid. How you get paid is made up by a multiple myriad of factors. It's not like in hospice, you're paid every day the same rate, for providing the same care. In, private duty, you're paid an hourly rate. In skilled nursing, you're paid a
Yeah.
DRG. It's a little bit similar, but home health is probably the most complicated, because you have to do an assessment where you guess the needs of the client for
Right.
the next 2 months, and you get paid on your
Yeah.
guesses. What if your
Oh,
guesses are wrong?
wow. And
Yeah.
that's where and then the other challenge in home health is finding people to work it.
Right. And that I'm
That's what
talking,
Feldcare was going through was,
yeah.
hey, how can I find more OTs, PTs? It was not
Yep.
very easy. It was a very
Correct.
challenging thing. But I'm intrigued because there's so many different things in healthcare. So
Yep.
Cheryl, I know you have something you can't tell us now, but you're going to come back in a couple of weeks to give us that
Yeah,
announcement when it comes
I
up
will.
because I love this industry. Because again, I'm all about, well, what kind of businesses? I see when people say recession proof, it's either you're an entrepreneur or not, especially with AI now. Take those risk assessments and then contact Cheryl.
Mhm.
Because bottom
Exactly.
line is you're going to see, you think it's simple and things change. And this is what you keep up all the time. Where can people contact you, Cheryl, if they're like, especially if they're in that B2B range and they're saying, I'm thinking about looking into a business like this? I'm thinking about I do consult with a business like this, meaning
Mhm.
maybe they're marketers, maybe they're some
Right.
salespeople, maybe they have some AI operations, but they say, hey, Cheryl would be a great contact. What can people do?
Yeah, they can just reach me at Cheryl at CLC Group CO.com. and I'm happy to give advice and, help anybody moving forward. And if anybody's got an operation that's struggling, I can usually point out the issues in a pretty quick minute.
All right. Thanks again, Cheryl. I really appreciate it. And go to storehousemediagroup.com for all things media, marketing, publishing, ghostwriting. That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Storehouse Media Group podcast, guys. Take care.